afternoon, a broad 2 to 7 inches across the viewing area. And then Sunday, some passing lake effect snow in the UP. Elsewhere, cloudy or mostly cloudy. High Sunday also in the 20s, low and mid 20s with a northwest wind. Here's a look at our hot shot tonight, taking us to Burt Lake. Mary sent this one in. And that was a week or two ago. We had some of those snow rollers kind of rolling across the snow and the ice there. Mary, thanks for that one. And thanks for joining us. Have a great Friday evening. We'll see you back here tonight at 11.
Good evening, Northern Michigan. Happy Friday. You're watching Unscripted at 6:30. Thank you so much for joining us for this Unscripted hour. We're going to be talking about a lot of things today, and Cody Bayer in for Maya Engel today. And first, I want to bring in our meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. Joe, a lot of the story yesterday was wind. Should we expect a lot of that again today, and some of that wind and cold?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, the wind thankfully is done. I mean, we had some spots, Cody, we were talking about this earlier, gusting over 60 miles per hour yesterday, a lot of power outages, but that thankfully is moved out of here. But what we're going to deal with now into the weekend is another round of snow. And that'll start getting in here tomorrow. We'll kind of take a look. So, of course, as is usually the case, some will get more than others. But we'll look at the timing on that and how much snow. And then, we'll take a look ahead all the way. Next Friday is Valentine's Day. We'll have the forecast all the way through then, coming up a little later.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Joe. And with some of this cold, now we're going to talk about something on Lake Michigan that we had sent in by a viewer from Petoskey, and it's called ice balls. Let's take a look at that. So these are not rocks that you see beside the ice. These are balls of ice. And Pat McKee, a viewer in Petoskey, sent this to us. And we're going to bring him in real quick to talk a little bit about these ice balls. So Pat, first of all, thank you so much for sending that in to us, and thank you for joining us. How are you today?
You're welcome.
So the first thing I wanted to ask you, Pat, was where were you? I know you were in Petoskey, but where around Petoskey were you when you saw these?
January 19th, it was almost just over 2 weeks ago on the beach just outside of Petoskey State Park. You've got a beautiful park area there, and you can walk along there. And we happened to be there. It was very, very cold, and the winds were high. And we happened to come out of the woods and walk down to the lake. And the first thing, my wife Carol and I walked that beach at least 2 or 3 times a week. And we'd see different forms and sometimes the ice caves. But this was starting up during a time I've never seen these things get this big, these ice balls. And it was amazing how many there were and how big they were. The average ones in there were like from softball to volleyball size. And those bigger ones that you see in there probably would fit like at the top of a 55-gallon drum. They were huge.
Yeah, and you could see them in the video. Some of them were super, super big. How far, and you could see it a little bit in the video, but from your perspective, how far out were they from, shore to water?
I was on ice. I was on about 10 feet of ice that left the beach, and they were right at my feet. But it went out probably 30, 40 feet of those things, just bouncing and rolling. And it was amazing how much they were just buoyant in the water, knowing how heavy they must be.
Yeah, and I have a very similar question with left to right. Could they, when you looked to your left or your right, did they just keep going as far as you could see? How far those directions?
Yeah. The spot that you saw there on the film probably was maybe 75 to 100 yards of visual, and then you could go farther down the beach and just follow it, and they were just floating all like Cheerios in a cereal bowl, just floating all along there.
And you told us a little bit about this, but what was your initial reaction to seeing these ice balls? Because when I saw them, even through the video, I was like, are those rocks? What are those? What was your reaction to seeing them?
What's interesting is they do look like rocks, and if you zoom in on the big ones, when I go to the big ones, some of them actually look like they're giant Petoskey stones, because you can see in the ice forming on it what actually looks like fossil-like looks of it. And that was the amazing thing, to see something that big floating and bobbing and knowing it had to weigh 50 pounds or more, floating and bobbing like it was just nothing. And that was the amazing part with the waves moving it, and accumulation of them all was amazing.
Have you ever seen anything like these before? Kind of interesting
Not
things like those on the lake?
that big. I've seen the smaller ones, golf ball size, and a few here and there, but I've never seen that many and that big in one spot like that before, ever.
And it's cool to see, you know, on the TV, on the screen, but is it worth going out there to kind of check them out and see what's going on with them?
They were only there for a short time, and then the bay started freezing, and they all kind of locked together, and that was the end of them. Because it was kind of like you had to be there at the right time at the right place, because they actually became ice, flow afterwards. They all the next day or so they were all sticking. We went back a few days later, and you couldn't find them. It was all frozen. They were all pretty much one piece.
Oh wow, that's really interesting that they went away that quick and kind of froze like that.
It was a thing where we were fortunate enough to be there at the right time and see something like that. And I still don't know. I'd like to have someone explain to me how it even starts to do that. It must be a little teeny water spot or something that goes in the air and gets cold and comes back down and just continually freezes. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, surely very interesting. Well, Pat, thanks so much for joining us, and thank you for sending that in so we could show that to people.
Well, you're welcome, and if I catch it next year, I'll send it to you again. I hope I do, but who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do if you see him again. Thank you for that. Pat McKee out of Petoskey joining us. We're going to stay on the water here, and let's talk a little bit about fishing. When you think about fishing, you're probably thinking about the big trip, whether you're bringing the snacks, what kind of bait you're bringing. Imagine that you're planning a trip for 200 anglers. That's why Tight Lines for Troops in Manistee has spent months, and they always spend months, planning for their big trip. And their big trip is all about their appreciation for veterans. Our Mark Chalette takes us into those preps.
It is an incredibly moving picture, seeing those veterans and how they react to that and seeing the welcome. And every year I would have at least one say that that was the welcome that they never got.
But in May in Manistee, they do. Those veterans get that welcome home and thank you for your service with each wave of a flag and a hand from well-wishers on shore.
Very emotional, I think, for some of them, and in the community really comes out to support this event, lining the piers and the Riverwalk and doing that welcome. And I think it's just really a great all-around event.
That event, the Tight Lines for Troops, 2 days of fishing out of Manistee. Free for veterans.
Seeing the veterans' appreciation, honestly, they express it the entire time, and you see them having great experiences, making new friends, some of them rekindling people that they didn't expect to see there from their past.
Every spring, boat captains and their crews volunteer their time and their vessel to get the veterans out.
We always shoot for about 50 boats. 4 veterans per boat gives us 200 that we're able to take out on the big lake.
It's a day and a way to say thank you. It's made possible by an army of volunteers and sponsors.
In generally, our sponsorship levels start out at $250 and above, but we do take in-kind donations. Any door prizes that they want to go directly to veterans, we offer that as well.
While donations and volunteers can always be used, the thing Tight Lines needs first, and soon, is veterans.
We want to make sure that anyone who wants to be involved from the Michigan area gets involved. Any Michigan veteran gets signed up, but they have to be signed up by March 1st at midnight.
Which can be done online or this weekend in person.
Saturday at the Manistee VFW, we are doing live registration. So for people who do not want to go on the website or sign up, don't have access to a printer, or it's just easier for them, at the Manistee VFW, this is the 8th from 11 to 2 p.m.
It's all about making sure those who have served can stretch a line out here and feel the appreciation of all of those who make this possible. 2 days of fishing, but months and months of planning and work to pull it all off. Logistically, it may never go flawlessly, but appreciation doesn't really need to.
We always say it's kind of like a wedding because we think everything went wrong, but we're the only ones that know that, and everyone thinks that it went perfectly. But mostly it's a relief, and then it's just such a high, such a buzz of satisfaction.
That was our Mark Chalette reporting. We have more information on how you can sign up and help and register with this story on our website, UpNorthLive.com. We're going to keep things outdoors a little bit. We're going to talk about an invasive insect that is harmful to our native eastern hemlock trees. It's been spotted in many areas in northern Michigan. UpNorthLive's meteorologist Trevor Robideau has more on how the cold weather could impact them.
Hemlock woollia delgid was first spotted in Michigan in 2006. Ever since, this insect has posed a danger to Michigan's 170 million eastern hemlock trees. They feed on them, producing a white, cotton-like appearance.
It's a little white ball that has this white woolly fluff on it. And they're at the base of the needles on hemlock trees, and you only find them on hemlock trees. Usually it's easier to see them if you look at the underside of the branch, but they're also present on the upper side of the branch of hemlocks.
This is important because these hemlocks are necessary to the ecosystem.
If the hemlock trees aren't there, you're going to get a lot more runoff into the rivers. The removal of those trees will allow the sunlight to warm up the cold water streams that are vital to the trout fishing, trout ecosystems that we have in those rivers. And not only that, but they provide diversity.
HWA was first spotted downstate, but has been spotted in Mason, Benzie, Leelanau, and Antrim counties in northern Michigan. So how is it spreading?
There is a stage of the insect called the crawler stage. It's the only mobile stage of it. Then they're able to crawl on birds, and the West Michigan shoreline, any shoreline, very important for bird migration. So we do know research has shown that birds can carry crawlers.
But it is believed to be spread by humans as well.
So far, it seems like spreading with wildlife or human movement. So when humans move hemlock trees or material cut from hemlock trees like firewood and things like that, we are known to move them around as well. Because it is possible it could get on clothing, could get on equipment, and be transported from place to place that way.
According to Walton and Nelson, research has shown that very cold temperatures below -20 or massive temperature drops can kill off HWA.
There is some mortality, about up to 90% at -22 degrees. Research shows out of MSU that there can be that 90% mortality. It does have to be for a number of days.
The DNR reminds us to always stay alert and report any sightings to one of their specialists. In northern Michigan, I'm Trevor Robideau reporting for Up North Live News.
Now, switching gears just a little bit with the big game this weekend. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The Super Bowl. Super Bowl 59 is Sunday. It's the Chiefs versus the Eagles. And this is actually a rematch of just a couple of years ago in Super Bowl 57. The Chiefs played the Eagles. The Chiefs ended up winning that one 38-35. But that was before the Eagles had dynamic running back Saquon Barkley. So it'll be interesting to see if things kind of move around a little bit with that. And Jalen Hurts has been playing really well recently. The Chiefs, they're looking to make history on Sunday because no team has ever won 3 straight Super Bowls. The Chiefs are looking for that three-peat. A big thing to think about when you're talking about the Super Bowl is who's going to win, what should I look at, who's going to have the best game, but it's also, you know, what should I eat and where am I going to watch? And that takes us to our question of the day, which is, where do you plan on watching the Super Bowl? 84% said at home, leading the charge. 9% said at a watch party. And then 5% said at the Caesars Superdome. That's where the game's actually taking place in New Orleans. I'll just say I'm very jealous if that's you and you were able to put the Caesars Superdome that you're going to go watch in person. And then 2% of people said at a bar. We're going to continue to look at that question of the day. You can still participate by scanning the QR code on your screen right now, and you can vote on our Facebook page. So the Super Bowl coming up Sunday, and it's not the only one, the Puppy Bowl as well, whichever one you're really into watching. But we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Joe Charlevoix will have your weather forecast. Stay with us.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back to Unscripted. Before the break, we talked a little bit about how you're going to spend the Super Bowl. Now, if you plan to go out and you're one of those people that's going to the bar, something like that, you might be wondering, what's the weather here going to be like as I'm on the way to watch the game? So, Joe Charlevoix, we're going to bring you in again and ask you a little bit about that and how this weather's going to look if I'm going out to watch the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're indoors, it's good, right? Anywhere. But yeah, if you're traveling, you know, somewhere, maybe with friends or out to an establishment Sunday, it won't be too bad, I don't think, Sunday afternoon. But we do have, between now and then, we do have some snow that is set to roll through here. This is the snow on the ground, important for, well, cross-country skiing, snowmobiling, and yeah, quite a bit. The areas where you see pink shading, that's where we have over a foot of snowfall, especially there in the lower peninsula from Manistee County right up to Emmett County, and then a lot of snow in the eastern UP, especially as you get north of M28. Quite a bit of snowfall there. Now, we mentioned earlier we had all that wind yesterday. These are the highest wind reports that we had. Roscommon had a 61-mile-per-hour wind gust. I had a report out of Ludington, didn't make it on this map here, or this graphic, but of a 62-mile-per-hour gust. Traverse City reached 60 miles per hour, and that was yesterday. The wind has certainly come down from that. Here's a look right now, and there's hardly any gusts. In fact, the only one I can find, Mackinac Island, winds are gusting to 20 miles per hour there. So the wind has certainly come down, and we're not looking at a whole lot now as we head into the weekend in terms of wind. There is still some lake effect snow. This is just desperately hanging on here. It just does not want to let go. Although it looks like now as we look at radar here, we're in the final kind of throes of this. This is starting to weaken and become less widespread. Still some snow there, especially along the Otsego-Crawford County line, heading into Montmorency County there around Lewiston. You're looking at some snow, and then areas there north of Mayo tonight. And across the eastern UP, snow is starting to fizzle out here too. We did have some lake effect snow that's starting to taper off. Our next system is way out west still. You can see though around Bismarck into Minneapolis, that area, some snow currently. That's the area of snow that will head our way. And we do have winter weather advisories for all the purple shaded areas, much of Wisconsin, and then in our area right here. This is where the heaviest of the snow is expected to fall as we move forward here. We're looking at 3 to 7 inches Saturday into Sunday morning of system snow. The roads here will be slick. Kind of M55, Manistee, through Cadillac over to Houghton Lake, Lake City. That's where I think the heaviest snow will fall. And that arrives here tomorrow, mid to late morning. So there it is. We'll stop the clock. There's 10 a.m. We start seeing some snow getting in here, becoming much more widespread tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, right there. And then that snow will come to an end, especially after midnight tomorrow night. And then Sunday, oh, Cody asked about Super Bowl Sunday. Some lake effect snow up in the eastern UP, a few snow showers in lower Michigan, but that system will be long gone. All right, now to the accumulation. Through morning, very little mid-morning, and then here comes the snow in the afternoon. So I'll stop this around sunset, 6:45, after the sun goes down, 1 to 2 inches north, 4 to 5 inches south, some additional snow Saturday night into early Sunday, and by Sunday morning, that's what we're looking at for the snow. And the highest totals are right where we have that winter weather advisory. And again, we're talking 4 to 7 inches of snow in many of those areas coming up here. That'll be again tomorrow afternoon and evening. So let's kind of recap the weekend forecast. There's tomorrow, mid and upper 20s, snow rolls in, steady in the afternoon with a broad, looking at our whole viewing area, 2 to 7 inches. And then Sunday, low and mid 20s, passing lake effect snow generally in the eastern UP, elsewhere cloudy or mostly cloudy with a wind out of the northwest. Here's extended forecast. We're looking at a few snow showers. Now next week, temperatures will be actually a little below normal. Normal highs 25 to 30. Not a lot of snow as we head all the way out through Valentine's Day, which is next Friday. A couple snow showers here and there, but overall next week looks pretty quiet.
Nice. Back to some of that cloud and cold and snow, but we'll take it.
We'll take it.
Yeah. Over actually in New Orleans, it's going to be 70s this weekend. So
pretty warm.
Yeah. Reason number 2 that I'm jealous if you voted that you're going to the actual Superdome for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's okay. I can enjoy a bit of snow here and there. I like it.
Or a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah, or a lot of it. That works too. All right, we're going to take another quick break. When we get back, Sports Director Harrison Beebe will join us to talk about there might be some history being made in northern Michigan tonight. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Unscripted, and once again, happy Friday. For many people, Friday's the best day of the week because you don't have work tomorrow, the weekend's tomorrow. For me, Friday's my favorite day of the week because it means we have hometown highlights tonight. So let's pull in Sports Director Harrison Beebe, who's live right now. Harrison, first let us know, where are you?
Yeah, Cody, you're just saying that because you got to fill in for me last Friday. So
It was fun.
You
It's my favorite day
secretly
of the week.
hope that I don't make it back to the station so you can fill in yet again. I know how your mind works.
I'm happy to help out where I can.
Well, you were actually at the same gym last Friday that I'm waiting to go into right now, where I'm at Traverse City Christian. The parking lot is jammed. That's because senior Reese Broderick of TC Christian, we featured him on the Jimmy John Sports Corner a week ago, if you missed it. He is 2 3-pointers away from setting the all-time career record for a high school basketball player in the state of Michigan. 340 is the current career record, so he's 339, 2 more threes, and he will be on his own for most threes made in the history of Michigan high school basketball, which is just mind-blowing of a statistic. But Reese is going to do that probably pretty early tonight. I'm actually hoping to get another game after he does, but we'll be here to see history in the making, that's for sure.
Yeah, it seems like he's shooting at a pretty good clip. I mean, obviously, if the record's not too far away, but if people are packing the parking lots not too far away, you know, there's 2. They expect him to get it tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never been at a place this packed at TC Christian. It's a small school, so there's clearly a lot of people here to see history. And we know Cade Cunningham is going to be in the three-point shootout for the NBA All-Star Weekend next week. So that's another three-point related story that we can talk about today.
Yeah, I love it. What other games are we going to see tonight on Hometown Highlights that might be big ones?
Gaylord, St. Mary, and East Jordan are scoring off in the Ski Valley boys basketball race. Boyne City and Charlevoix. That's a good Northern Shores conference. That used to be the Lake Michigan Conference, now the Northern Shores. And I just caught Traverse City Central hockey highlights. They were up 4-0 early on Gaylord, so it's looking like for senior night that was a win for the Trojans.
Yeah, and one last question, just the answer, Chiefs or Eagles Sunday?
I'll believe it when I see somebody beat the Chiefs, and no, the refs are not beating the Eagles. It will be the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Eagles on Sunday. But I'd love to be proven wrong. I just want a good game.
Yeah, I've been saying the same thing. Thanks so much. Sports Director Harrison Beebe joining us. We're going to take one more quick break, and then after we get back, we're going to take one last look at our question of the day today. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
We're going to take another quick look at our question of the day. The question being, where do you plan on watching the Super Bowl? 84% of people said at home, 9% said a watch party, 5% actually in New Orleans at the Caesars Superdome, and 2% at the bar. That'll do it for Unscripted today. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you right back here tonight on Up North Live, News at 11.